Okay, we'll start the data dictionary. So what is data dictionary? So data dictionary is nothing but it's a global repository data object. Okay, data dictionary. We will understand about the data dictionary. This is also known as DD, and T code for this is SE11. So in data dictionary, with the help of data dictionary, what we do, we create the table. Okay, so it is mainly for DDL. It provides the functionality for DDL, means for the data definition language. You can create your table. Okay, you can create your table. So okay, you can modify the table definition. Okay, so any kind of things, any kind of definition related things you can do. You can create your table, you can modify your table. Okay, you can uh, so create or modification, create and modify your table. These two things you can do with the help of you know DDL. So the T code for this data dictionary is SE11. Let's go to the system and we'll understand over there in detail. Okay, so some important thing is like that. Whatever table you are going to create in SE11, that will be the global, that will be globally accessible. Okay, so SE11, that means data dictionary, is also known as global repository, global data repository. Okay, so you can access from anywhere, from the program also you can access, from another table also you can access. Okay, so let's go into the system now and we will see. Go to the system over here, go to, so just one thing also I will try to show you over here as a part of this course, how to log in into the system. So what you will have to do to log in into the system, okay, you have, let me close this server. Okay, here you are having the SAP logon pad. You will be having installed, you will have to install a SAP logon, SAP GUI. I'm having the remote desktop over here. Okay, I have bought the subscription for the remote desktop, and for that, with the help of that, I'm connected over here just by going into from the from my uh, Windows application, like from my desktop directly. Maybe I can show you, just let me show. Okay, so come over here, just a second. Yes, now just come over here, I will show you what I have done. So now if I can see over here that I have gone into this remote desktop connection. Okay, and from here the server provider will give you the computer name like this, and they will give you the username. So I have already given the computer name and username over here, and then you will have to click on connect button. It will ask you for the password, because already I have given the by default password, it is not asking, and it will be connected with the remote desktop. Once you come over here, you know once you come over here, are you able to see my screen? Can you confirm, anyone? Once you come over here, right?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, so here you will have to double click on this SAP logon, and right, you will be having the already application server configured over here. If it is not configured, like if you want to install in your local system this SAP GUI, that also you can do. If you want to do like that, please let me know, I will let you know. Okay. Fine, let's log in into this system. You will be provided the user ID and password. You will have to give the user ID over here, you will have to provide the password over here. Whatever your password, you can just type it, and maybe I'm writing some wrong. Okay, and once you provide the password over there, you will be logging into the system. Okay, so these particular things, if you see over here, uh the particular things, like maybe I can show you this first. Just a second. Here, this is known as the menu toolbar. Okay, this is known as the menu toolbar. The second one is known as, this is known as, you know this is known as the standard toolbar. Okay, and this is known as the application toolbar. Okay, so the first one is known as menu toolbar, second one is the application toolbar, and this is the standard toolbar. We have sorry, a standard toolbar, and this is the third one is the application toolbar we are having. Okay, so this is the things over here, and if you want to, you know, and just let me remove this. And here you can see that if you want to make some transaction favorite, for example, I want to make the data dictionary transaction as a favorite transaction, SE11 transaction. So just you can right click over here, right click, and then insert transaction and give the SE11 over here. SE11, click on this OK button. So automatically the data dictionary transaction will come over here, or directly from here you can go over here, put the cursor over here, you can give SE11. Okay, press enter and the SE11 will come over here. If you want to refresh this particular screen, you can give the /n. It will just refresh it and it will go to the initial transaction. Okay, if you want to open the new session, okay, means new screen, if you want to open, you can keep this screen, and if you want to open the new screen, that also you can do with the help of by clicking on this particular button. You can see the new GUI window, or what you can do, do /o. So it will open the new screen, new session, it will open. Click on this OK button, and you can see now it has not opened, some problem is there. /o, for example, suppose I'm going to create the report screen. Okay, so you can see the another screen has opened in the different screen, and now we are having the two screen. One is the original one, the home screen, and another is for SE11. So /o is used to create the new screen. Okay, new session. Fine, hope it's clear for you. Now this is to go back button, this is for exit button, this is for cancel button. Okay, if you want to exit from the transaction, you can click on this button. Okay, if you want to go back, you can click on this button, you will go back. This is for search functionality, right? So these are the different, mostly when you will start, you know, working on this, you will be able to understand. It's a very user friendly, you know. Here you can see this is for activation. I will let you know how you can use this activation. This is for syntax check. Okay, this is a very used list. This is very important button. I will let you know about this detail. Okay, very important button, this where used list. Okay, now come over here, we will create one small table, and tomorrow we'll try to explore the table in a different from the different angle. Let's create one table. Okay, so ZMB 28th morning batch 28th April. This is the name of my table, maybe a student table I'm just going to create. So in beginning I will start giving something like identifier, so that so ZMB 28 I will be giving you every time, and I'm going to create one student table over here. Okay, click on this create button to create a table, and here you can give the short description. Okay, so a student table, just I'm going to give over here. You can see here you are having the delivery class. Delivery class is related with the transport. All the delivery means you are going to deliver something from one place to another place. So whenever from one place to another place comes into this SAP ABAP, the transport comes into the picture. So whatever you are going to select from here, it is directly, it is having the relation with the transport. Okay, so the delivery class here, you are having, you can see here 7 kinds of delivery class you are having. So based upon the system version, it keeps on changing, but the first 3 is going to be very important: A, E and C. Another is not going to be discussed by us. This is related with the basis people or database administrator people. For us it is sufficient to understand the first 3, A, E and C. A stands for application table. Application table means master and transaction data. Okay, so we will understand what is the master data and what is the transaction data. Okay, so let me go into the PPT, okay, and I will make you understand what is the master data and transaction data. Then we will go over there and we will uh, 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 choose the appropriate things. Okay, so there are two types of data actually: master data and transaction data. So the master data, if you talk about, just let me write it over here, master data. So master data, it, you know, it is very important for any kind of business. It's very important for any kind of business. Okay, so this is the base of any business. First you will have to, before starting any business, you will have to configure the master data. So the master data, the you know, it changes very rarely. It changes very rarely. It changes very rarely. Okay, so for example, suppose if you are having, if you take the real-time example, material master is a master data, because the material information is going to be changed very rarely. Now once you create the material information is going to be as it is. Okay, if you talk about the transaction data, it keeps on changing. It changes very frequently. Okay, it changes very frequently. Sales order, purchase order, these are the type of uh, you know uh, data which is keeps on changing. You know, it keeps on changing frequently. So the master data, it changes very rarely. This is important, very important point. And the transaction data, it changes very frequently. This is the main difference we are having between master data and transaction data. Example you can give: material master, purchase info record. There are many, you know, material master. Okay, just I'm giving one example over here. And here, like purchase order, sales orders, this kind of data, you know, keeps on changing. Okay, so come over here now. In our system we will come and we will see. Okay, here you can see that application, like if you are having the master and transaction data, you are going to use this. A now you are having one another kind of, you know, this E, let's, this is particularly for the SAP purpose. Okay, this is to control the system behavior. But the C, if you are having the customizing table, so like customizing table, we will understand this one in detail. Like this is mainly concerned with the functional people. They are just like, if some table you are going to create the customizing table, with the help of that table, you know, the data which you are going to put into that customizing table, it's going to impact your behavior. It's going to impact the system program behavior. Okay, we will see that one also. As of now, let's select this application table. Okay, and here we are going to select the display and maintenance allowed, so that I can put the data into my table. Okay, now come over here. The very first field we'll have to always give, that is the MANDT field, though it is not mandatory. But what is the significance of this, I will let you know. If we're going to give mandate, then what it will do. If it is not going to give, if we're not going to give mandate, then what it will do. As of now, let's give this MANDT. Okay, this key mandate will be always a key field. If we're going to give the mandate over here, it's going to become always a key field. Here, do you want to allow, you can see that initial values, do you want to provide this mandate, do you want to provide the initial value over here, if there is no value in this. Okay, for that purpose we will see. For mandate, always the data element will be mandate only. Okay, we will see what is the meaning of data element. Okay, so data element is nothing but a kind of data type. Okay, so whatever field you are going to define over here, you have to tell to the system what kind of data it's going to store. So I have given the data element over here, MANDT. Okay, and you can see from the data element, it has taken the information that its data type is the client data type and length is 3. Just forget it, this one as of now. Come over here, and the second field I'm going to give over here a student id. Okay, a stud underscore id, just I'm going to give, and a student id is going to be our primary key. Okay, so what is primary key? So primary key is nothing but it's the identification for the single record. It's the identification for the unique record in a table. Okay, so for all the student is going to have a single identifier that is known as the student id. Okay, so this is also going to be our key field. Okay, so the combination of mandt and student id is going to be our key field. Okay, initial value if you want you can select over here, and here you can create your own data element. Okay, or you can use the existing data element. For example, I want to give the student id something like int1. I want to store a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 something like that student id number. Okay, so I'm just going to use this int1. This is a data element which shows what kind of data type and length you are going to use. Okay, what kind of, so you can see the data type is an integer data type and length is 3, right? We are having a student id can be also something like, you know, a student uh, uh, let's make it simple as of now. Int1 will keep it, and here the student name, a student underscore name. Okay, I can give a student underscore maybe first name you can write, and then a student last name. So l name you can give over here, right? This is not required to have a key field. If you want you can make, there is no problem, but we are already having one key already, right? So the minimal combination of the any field which is going to create your primary key, that's sufficient for our primary key, right? So mandate and this student id combination is sufficient to have a primary key, right? So now this student id, just I'm going to give it over here, and you can see that and suppose now if you are going to get confused with this mandt, maybe you can remove this one. Okay, I will let you know about this later, what is the mandate at that time we can see. So just you can see the student id is going to have here my primary key, that's fine, a student first name and a student last name over here, and here name can be of type character, right? So for example, someone name is Ashwini, so Ashwini may be of 20 characters maximum, so just I'm going to give the maximum 20 characters. So you will not be able to give the name more than 20 characters if we're going to specify character 20. So maybe let's, for safer side, let's have char 25. So if some name is longer, it's going to accommodate char. The last name maybe also I can keep char 20. Okay, so you can see that this is the data element char 25, char 20. These are the data element which tells about the data type and length. So once you give the data element over here, automatically it will take the data type and length, and the description whatever it is there, it will also take from there the description. Okay, it will take the description. Now maybe you can write some, you know, a student age also you are interested to store. Okay, so a student age, there is one more data type that is called numc. Okay, so numc2, let me check, and you can see the age, I'm just considering that age is not more than 99 years, so just I'm keeping the 2 only. Okay, if you are thinking that age can be more than 99 also, so maximum you can take numc3 and that should be fine. Okay, so press enter and you can see the numc3. Okay, so now the thing is over here, like, you know, if you want to use the data element, that's fine, but if you want to use the predefined type also, you can use. So what is the meaning of predefined? Predefined means directly you can use the numc or character whatever you want. Okay, numc or character whatever. So click on this predefined, and you can see over here it is coming like this. Data element option is not there. So the basically the data element why we are giving, just to get the type and the length. Okay, just to get the type and the length. So maybe the date of birth you can give over here, and here for the date of birth you have to use the date data type. So press F4 over here and you can see you can find out some date data type. Just keep on searching over here and you will be able to see somewhere some date data type will be there. You can see the different data type is there. You can just choose it from here. And okay, so I'm just using this date data type. You can choose over here, right? You can choose like this. That is possible. Okay, press enter and that's it. We got the date data type. Okay, some another, for example, age I have given, date of birth I have given, first name, last name, age, date of birth, and if you want to give some mobile number information, if you want to put, okay, so mobile number, uh, mobile 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 number I want to keep it for the student. So here also, it can be, you can give the num, okay, nums you can use over here, or integer you can use, right? So mobile number I can keep it of 10 characters or maybe 12 characters, right? Or maybe 13 characters, like that you can use. So 10 for the mobile number, 2 for the country code, right? Or 3 for the country code. So maybe 12 only is sufficient for you. Unnecessary use of we are not supposed to use unnecessary, there is memory use of unnecessary memory is not recommended, right? So that's why, and just I'm going to save it. It is telling, you can see, specify a client specific application table, right? Because I have not given the MANDT. I will let you know what is the meaning of client specific. Okay, just click on the save button, but that's just, it was a warning. You can create the table without client also. Okay, now you can see over here and you can come to this technical settings. Okay, so now just simply I'm going to use the data class over here. Tomorrow I will let you know the meaning of data class, actually what it stands for. But in a brief, you can see over here you are having the different data class: AWPL0, AWPL1, AWPL2, and like that. The first three is very important. Okay, so what kind of data you are going to, your data which you are going to store over there, which comes, that comes under which category, what kind of data is that, whether that is the master data, right? If that is the master data, you can select the master data. Is that the transaction data, right? If you are having, if you are sure that it's a transaction data, but the student information, it will not keep on changing regularly, right? So its nature is like master data. So maybe you can select this master data. And if something data is like customizing data, you are going to customize in your table so that the functionality of the business can be in runtime, it can be dynamically impacted. So for that purpose we can use this one, but in this case it is not required, this organization and transaction, right? Master data I'm just going to use, and as a developer mostly we're going to use this master and transaction. Okay, master data I'm going to use over here, and the size category, here it will tell you what should be the size category, 0 to 4400, like that you are having the size category, which size category you are going to use, right? How many records you are going to use. Here you can see, suppose if you want to use 10,000 record, and if we're going to use the first size category, can you tell me if it is valid or not? Any one of you, if it is valid or not? If I'm going to use, you can see the different kind of size category we are having. And suppose if you have to store the 10,000 student records over there, will they work or not? The first one.
Yes, sir, it works, but again, we automatically it will change to it's 4,400 to 17,000.
No. So this will work automatically, it will not change. There is no automation actually. This one size category, it will not change automatically, but what will happen, it will allocate the memory initially for 4400 record. Okay, but when your record is going to have more than 4400, automatically it will allocate another chunk of memory for 0 to 4400. Okay, so in multiple of 4400 records, it will start allocating the memory. So if you are sure that you have the less amount of data, then you can go for this 4400, though it will not create any problem, but for the memory management purpose it is advised, if you know that how many particular records you are going to store, that's better to select. But it will not create any problem if it is more than 4400. In that case, it is going to allocate another chunk of memory for again 0 to 4400. Hope it's clear. Okay, if it is not, please let me know. I will represent it with the help of a diagram, and I will let you know. You can drop the message over here also if you are not feeling comfortable while talking. Okay, fine. And here, the buffering not allowed, buffering switched, buffering allowed but switched off, and the buffering activated. What is the meaning of this?
Hello.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Hello.
I think so has exited.
I think he has some problem in technical. Server has been disconnected.
Yeah, now is it fine? Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, some internet issue was from my side. Okay.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, just a second. Once again, I'm just going to connect this one. Okay, fine. Yeah, some issue was from my side. Yeah, fine. So let me save it. So here you can save.
Screen is not coming.
For the buffering, we will see in tomorrow class what is the meaning of this. I just let that buffering not. Okay, now let's, and having two more changes: log data changes and writes. We are going to go. Just go back.
Hello, sir. Your screen is not coming properly.
Let me click on the save button.
Why
My voice is not coming.
But the screen is not coming.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Now is it coming?
Yeah, no, it's a remote desktop connection has been coming, and
Just a sec. Okay.
yeah, now it's coming.
Just a second.
Sanna.
Okay. Let's save it. Yeah. Other people
APK.
can mute from your side.
Undi.
Other people can mute from your side, please. Just a second. Let me mute. Okay. Fine. So let me save it, and what I will do, I will check the syntax over here. Okay, it's a warning we can ignore as of now. I will tell you why this warning is coming. Okay, just go back over here, activate this one. Okay, and it got activated. You can see it got activated. And now click on this content button and go over here. You can go to this, you can just click on this F8 button. You can see there is no record because I have not giving any record. Number of entry is 0. Just go back once again, and here, suppose if you want to put the entry, you can go to the table contents and click on this create entries. Okay, give some value over here. A student name may be MD. First name, I want to keep something maybe George. Here the first name, the last name Bush, age 23, date of birth maybe you can select from here. So this F4 is coming from the data element because I have selected the data type date, right? From there it's coming. So date of birth I have just selected something, and the mobile number you can give any mobile number, and just you can click on the save button. It will save the data in the table. Similarly, you can save the second record and George 1, Bush 1. Okay, the 24, the different name just I'm putting over here. So maybe if you want to change the name over here, okay, some different name also you can change. For the second record itself, it will go and change over there, right? Just it's saved over here. The third, maybe I can give some another Ram, and here I can give the Kumar, something like that, and maybe the age we can give 30, and click on you can select some date over here. Just save it. Okay, just go back and you can see the 3 records I have put over there. Click on this F8 and you can see all the 3 records got saved over here. Okay, so with this here, I'm just going to stop the session over here. You are having the assignment. What you can do, that you can create one table. Okay, you can create one employee table. So that, let me give the assignment over here. You can try yourself, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me. So I'm just going to write on this PPT. So the assignment you have that, create a table. So the table name will be ZEMP, and what you can give your name over here. After Z, you can give, for example, others is going to create this table, so you can give AD just for identification, and for creating every object you can start with ZAD, so that anytime if you want to search, you'll be able to search. It will be better for you to manage. Okay, so ZAD and employee, you can create this table over here with below fields. So the first field what we will have to use employee ID. Okay, the second field you can use the same employee first name. The third you can use the employee second name. Okay, then you can use the age, you can use the salary, something like that. You can use the data type. Here you can just decide the data type as per your wish, what should be the proper data type, and create the table and insert some 5 records at least, and just go and check if that record is present over there or not. Okay, fine. So let's save over here, and we are going to stop here session today, and let me know if you have any question over here, or else we can